Hey, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Not the Podcast, where I have invaded MillyMazilla's Twitch stream. We haven't done a Not the Podcast in a very long time. Millie, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And people that listen to the podcast hear Millie's name all the time. He does our logos. He's done our anniversary t-shirts every year. But Millie, give us a plug for your Twitch or your YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Just throw all that out there for us first.
Sure. So, nowadays it's really much just the Twitch. You can find me at twitch.tv/MillyMazilla. It's spelled MillyMazilla.
Boom. Doing it. So what game are they going to be watching while we're talking about Halloween?
All right. So, given the nature of the theme, one of my favorite games is Earthbound. The game I've chosen today is actually a ROM hack of Earthbound, specifically themed around Halloween. For those of you who are familiar with the game Undertale, the song Megalovania actually came from this ROM hack.
Okay.
So
this will be cool. I haven't seen Earthbound in ever, so this will be like a first time for me.
I haven't actually seen this ROM hack, so I'm going into it blind, but it's Earthbound, so I think all the mechanics are still the same.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of talk about Halloween the season. I could talk about Halloween the film franchise, but I'm going to save that for the actual Horrorcast podcast. So we're just going to talk about Halloween in general.
I'd be pretty lost around the films.
Was because we went to see the new Halloween last night, so it's fresh on my brain. But I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the whole thing all together. So as far as Halloween goes, you're in Canada, I'm in America, like way down in Texas, so we couldn't be further apart. But so what are some, I want to kind of compare, like what are some of the traditions you remember from Halloween as a kid that were like every year you did the same thing, or like what did you guys do up there?
Okay, so I don't know that there's a lot that I fully remember. I mean, obviously like trick-or-treating is the big one. I know at school in particular we used to like go there the day we would dress up in our costumes at school. And sometimes they would bring us around to like old folks' homes so we could parade our costumes for them.
Oh.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a thing we started doing later on in the year. And then there was like, they usually had like pumpkin carving contests. Things like that. I remember those.
How old were you when you stopped trick-or-treating?
That is a good question. Let me think.
If you had to guess, because I don't really remember the exact year either, but
I'd say somewhere around 8 to 10 years old. No, probably a little bit later, like 10 to 12 probably.
Mine was maybe, I was going to say like 10 to 12 probably is about when I stopped. Like whenever you're getting close to going to 7th and 8th grade, you're like, I'm too cool for trick-or-treating now.
Right.
So like for me, whenever I was little, we were doing trick-or-treating or whatever, but we kind of only stayed in our little subdivision area.
Okay.
So we would like walk around, and there was like, I know it sounds so cliche, but there was one house literally in our little cul-de-sac where the dude would give out like either apples or granola bars or like toothbrushes or all the shitty things that you hear as a joke. Like he really did. So we hated that guy. But we weren't so mean as to like egg his house or do anything like that. But
so you weren't
still like you just skip his house.
So you weren't a bunch of hoodlums.
No, we weren't. Not so much older. But our school did some cool stuff too. Kind of sounds really similar to like y'all's, but we did like a because we're from Bible Belt area where I grew up. They wouldn't call it a Halloween carnival. So they called it a what do they call it? Like a fall festival.
Okay, so it was like
yeah, so it was like pumpkins and trees, but you could still wear your Halloween costume, and they literally would, the whole hallway of the schools, every single room would have a different game or something in it, and then the big gymnasium had like dunking booths and like basketball and like cakewalks and games to play, and like you get candy and all that kind of stuff. So it was like a really cool festival every year. I remember loving it, but I think my grandparents were really sick of it by the end because I did the same costume like every year that I can't even remember. I was a fairy like every year. Like you know how some little girls are like, I'm a princess every year. No, I was a fairy. I had the freaking wings every year they're like, "Can you please be imaginative?" But no, same thing every year.
I'm
Apparently, that was my favorite.
I'm a slightly older fairy. I had
I don't
a
remember any other costumes.
I had a
This is the
few
only one I remember doing.
I had a few interesting ones that I remember. I know one.
Okay, what did you do?
Okay, so I know I went as a ninja once.
Nice.
I went as the Black Ninja Power Ranger. Um, I
Oh,
went
sweet.
I went as a pirate ninja once. Can you sense the theme a little bit there?
Yeah.
I remember one year I'd found like one of those shitty old like thin plastic mask Mario costumes. So I had like a
Oh God.
Mario costume. It was like basically a plastic tarp that went over my body and had a cape.
Oh my God. I
Um,
remember when we were little though, like those costumes, the really cheap plastic ones, is what we would always get because they were like $10 at Walmart.
right, it was like super affordable. It's
Yeah,
basically
that's
every
really what I
costume was
had.
just a tarp and a mask, but it's okay.
Yeah, so cheap.
Other than that, I know I went as the Fawns one year.
Well, that's imaginative. At least, like, I'm just the same thing every year. At least you're changing it up.
Yeah, except I was
I
like,
did better as I got older. So, like, you know how you skip it your teen years, like we were saying, 12 to probably like 18. You don't do it anymore. You're like, I'm too cool to trick or treat, whatever. And then you hit 18, and you're like, ta-da! We get adult Halloween with drinks and like all that kind of stuff, right?
yeah,
So then that's when I started being a better, like, full, like, hardcore Halloween person. Like, every year I would be like schoolgirl or French maid or Dorothy or like a real, you know how girls slut it up. So I was doing like the sluttiest costume I could come up with. And every single year was different. So, and you just get hammered and eat a lot of food, and it was always a lot of fun. Halloween's like my favorite thing in the world. You already know that about me, though.
yeah. So
Nick's the same way.
the only other costume that comes to mind for me that I remember was, and like you said, after a while you start to pick it up a little bit more. This would have been, I think, my grade 12 year of high school. I dressed up like Dr.
Right.
House from the show
Oh,
House,
God.
and
Yeah.
I on the fly wanted to find a way to make my leg gimped up like his is. So
Oh, God.
I had a like a brace that I like a knee brace, and then I shoved a bolt in the back of my knee. That legitimately hurt for like days.
Wow, you were so committed.
But
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure I won a gift card from school for that.
Nice.
But
No, I never won anything. Oh. I maybe won like a cakewalk once when I was 7. That doesn't count.
Is-
No.
is this going to be released before or after the episode of the podcast that you just took questions for?
This will be probably before.
Okay.
But it's going to be different people answering them, so you could ask whatever question you want to ask.
Well, I was going to talk more about the costume that I mentioned in the Reddit post.
The white Power Ranger. So okay, here's the deal. You told me about the white Power Ranger and you said for shame and Google it for why. So I try to look it up, and all it tells me is that he was a green Power Ranger and then a white Power Ranger, and I'm like, I don't get.
Okay, so it gave you the history of it.
Explain the problem to me.
Okay, so I will go Google it for you and post it in chat so everyone else can be privy to this as well. And then
Okay.
you can see why it would be an issue, especially keeping in mind that, like I said, they used to take us in front of like old people in homeless, or not homeless shelters, in old folks' homes.
Okay.
Just gotta get this. Good, that's what I needed. So here you go,
As a
chat.
kid, like I might have been a little bit too old for it or something.
I mean, this would have been like 94, 95. So, I mean, I was.
Yeah, I would have been probably in 8th grade.
Yes, yeah, I was like 4 years old.
Well, screw you for being young.
Right?
Okay, so they've got the link there. if they want to look at it in chat. So then explain it to me and the people that are not in chat.
Sure. So my brother went one year as the white Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Ninja Ranger. And the Ninja Rangers were a thing they did after their first feature-length movie. Now, as you can imagine, the Power Rangers were all color coordinated. And this was just after they had introduced the White Ranger. So the White Ranger is now in full ninja garb from head to toe with a white hood and a white mask.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm starting to see what the problem is. I'm
right.
starting to understand now.
So they had to try and articulate to a bunch of elderly people why my brother was dressed in all white.
Oh no! Okay.
So they're like, and he's.
I totally didn't get that until you mentioned it.
Yeah, they're like, and he's a ninja.
Yeah. You're like, okay, so this kid dressed in all white goes to this old folks home. They've never heard of a Power Ranger before.
Right.
So he's in white, head covered in white, and they're thinking, who dressed this kid as a member of the KKK?
Right.
Basically is what you're saying.
Exactly. They thought he was there to
no.
They thought he was there to commit some crimes or something.
Lord help them. See, that's why like younger generations and older generations, it just doesn't always communicate well because you don't know what's going on. Oh no. Hey, did you ever watch the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie that came out like a year or two ago?
I watched it. I didn't think it was that bad. It was certainly a lot better than what Michael Bay did to Transformers.
Well, yeah, I mean, most things are. Because I wanted to watch it, but then I was like, I don't know if I would really like it, because it looked like it got kind of mixed reviews. People either really liked it or they were like, meh. So maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, the thing with something like that is you're going to have your purists who are like people like, oh no, it's not the Power Rangers I know and love.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I know what I was going to ask you.
Yep.
Okay, so back on the Halloween theme. What is your favorite Halloween candy? And then what is one that you think is disgusting?
Okay. I mean, I'm into any type of chocolate. Chocolate is the best. If I'm going to pick a type of chocolate, I'm starting to think back what I see more common around Halloween. Like, I like crispy crunch bars.
Okay. Like the ones that have the crunchy, like rice stuff in them?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
If one I could do without, I mean, I feel like the obvious answer that everyone's looking for is candy corn because it's nasty.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
It is nasty. Who even likes it? Does anybody even like candy corn? Why do we still make it?
Right? It's like, it's an abomination in every way.
It's literally just like wax. Like when you would get those wax lips or the fangs, you know, that you could put in your mouth to look like you had the mouth or whatever. It tastes like you're eating those.
Yeah, basically.
It's so nasty.
It's like someone dripped a little bit of sugar in a candle.
I'm with you on that, and I'm with you on the chocolate too, because like when you go out trick-or-treating, you go to all the effort, put on the costume, whatever, and if they don't give you like good chocolate candy, then they've wasted your time. Like, I don't want Smarties, I don't want a fucking popcorn ball, I don't want licorice, which of course is the worst thing ever. Black licorice is disgusting, you guys. Stop it. Nobody wants it. Candies, and they can be bite-sized. Like, I'm not the kind that's like, you got to give me a full chocolate bar, because ain't nobody got money for that. But as long as I get a lot of chocolate bites, then I'm good.
Right.
But definitely chocolate. I'm with you on that.
I mean, even licorice, like, I've grown to be okay with it. Like, I can eat black licorice. It's not my favorite by any means. If I could not have it, I would be okay.
Right. Like, I can eat like the red ones, like red vines or Twizzlers. It's the black licorice that I just like. I don't understand. You're literally just chewing on them. It's like a waxy.
Right.
I don't know what. I don't understand the point of it.
Now,
the flavor's really odd to me.
Do they have like other flavors of licorice there? Like, I know I've seen like blueberry licorice here.
You have? No, we don't have any of that. What's up? Can we get up to date? We just have the red and the black. That's it. Or at least as far as I know.
Now,
I don't go candy shopping super often. We don't eat a lot of candy.
Right. Like, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I know at one point we used to have some blueberry licorice.
That would probably be okay. I think I'd be all right with that. Or if they had like candy corn that had any flavor, maybe it would be. It just doesn't really have any flavor to it.
All right,
Is
sugary
my
wax.
Yeah, it's just if it had like an actual flavor, like a stronger flavor, I think that would be better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Halloweeny stuff. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. This is the most important thing. You know that all day, every day, even when it's not Halloween season, I'm watching scary movies or scary TV shows, right?
Yes.
Everybody knows that about me.
Yeah.
So when Halloween comes around, what are the movies that you and Glitter have to watch? Like, it's Halloween and we have to watch these movies.
Her usual go-to movie is Halloween Town. All of them. Specifically the first one, though.
Okay.
I know it's not entirely scary, but...
Well, it doesn't have to be scary. Like, I watch Hocus Pocus every year like religion, and that's not scary.
But usually I just watch whatever she's watching anyway. Like, it's rare that I actually put on any TV or movie to watch it. Normally I'm just on YouTube or Twitch.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, normally it's whatever
Hocus
she picks.
Pocus for sure. Like, that one's first. And then a new favorite... Well, I don't know how old it is. I'll have to look it up or something. But Trick or Treat, not Trick or Treat. It's like Trick, the letter R, Treat.
Okay.
Is the title. It's so good. It's a really good Halloween movie. Nick talked about it a year or two ago.
Yeah.
How he saw it for the first time and he was like, I'm gonna watch this every year from now on. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, check that out. It's a little scary and gory, but not too bad. And then every single year on Halloween night, like clockwork, I watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. I have to. It's just like a thing with me.
Okay. See, I've never actually seen Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And I don't like musicals, but I like Rocky Horror.
I know some of the references from it. Like, I've seen other things reference it, but I've never actually sat down and watched it. Now,
yeah, Tim Curry is a treasure.
Now, I've heard it's like one of those cult classic movies, so I kind of get the feeling that I'd really like it. Because,
Yeah, it's super campy, and every year, in a lot of cities, but of course in Austin especially, because it's a bunch of freaking hipsters, they do these sing-along, act-along things at the Alamo Draft House, where you get props, and you sing along, and you act parts of the movie out, and every year I'm like, I'm gonna go, and then every year I don't end up going.
Okay.
But I really want to do it at some point, but I just haven't ever gotten to.
Gotcha.
But whatever. I'll do it eventually.
But I mean, like, I feel like it fits right there with my sense of self-loathing, like where I like The Room. It's one of my favorite movies. It's also a very good horror movie.
No, it's not. Molly.
It is a very good horror movie. You're just biased.
Oh, you're so silly. That's how I know you don't know anything.
That I refer to
that you refer to that as a horror film. That just gives it all away right there.
Well, I think he actually...
if you want real horror, I know he wanted it to be, like, got some scare to it, but it's not. If you want real horror, you need to watch stuff like, obviously, Friday the 13th, but I actually kind of like the remake better, the one that has Jared Padalecki in it. And then, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but the one that has Jessica Biel in it, the newer one. Like, the older ones, it's just like, I can't get past how old and terrible the effects are.
So I feel like that's half the joy of them, though. Like, everything has to be really cheesy.
No, I really like it to be super gory, super realistic, or it's kind of too funny for me. Like, I have to really feel it to be scared. Slashers are my favorites, though, for sure. Gotta have the gore. You gotta have nice boobs on camera. They're just there. Obligatory tits.
Yeah.
And fun, cheesy kills, blood splashing everywhere. Like, that's Halloween. You gotta do slashers on Halloween. But I do kind of also like the paranormal stuff, because that's like a whole different, separate thing. Like, I love the Paranormal Activity movies. Well, not all of them. So I like 1, 2, 4, and 6, which is like oddly specific, but those are really good paranormal movies. I actually like the Conjuring series too.
Did those take off like the Saw movies, where there was like 400 of them by the third year after they were
Yeah.
first conceived?
Yeah, they did one. So yeah, they did one every year, just kind of like the same way Saw did. Saw I didn't like. I liked the first one because it was like kind of a genre-defining moment.
Right.
but
It was
the rest of
original.
them were terrible. Yeah, but the other ones were all so like samesies. Like it was all everybody's stuck in a trap over their head and they have to get out. They don't get out. They get killed. Like it was just kind of boring actually because it was just the same thing over and over again. They didn't do anything different
Right.
with the Saw ones. But I guess you could say that about Paranormal Activity.
I mean,
they didn't really change too much either.
I feel like that's almost become a trope with horror movies, though. Like, oh, let's have one big hit and then let's milk it for 17 movies.
Yeah, so if we make a ton of money off of it, we're just going to keep doing the same thing.
Right, why change the formula when it's already made you $1 billion?
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think if there's other really good gory ones. Poltergeist is a childhood favorite. Freddy, like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Love all of them. The Halloween movies, I rewatched the original before I went to see the new one, and it's so bad. It's so terrible. The best versions of the Halloween movies would be the Rob Zombie versions, actually, because he's like super gory, way more artistic in his style, and it's just better told when he does it. Like he did House of a Thousand Corpses. Oh god, what was the second one? He's making a third one called Three from Hell that's coming out next year, and I'm so stoked to see it.
I feel like Rob Zombie is to horror movies what like Quentin Tarantino is to his brand of movies.
Yeah, probably. Although I hate Quentin Tarantino. But I love Rob Zombie. Oh, Jesus.
But I think you missed the most important horror movie of them all.
Okay.
Home Alone 3.
Oh, speaking of horror that's not really horror, do you think that, what's the one? Die Hard. Is that a Christmas movie?
Absolutely it is.
Okay. That's like a question people always ask. I know it's not Halloween, but I wanted to ask you because I haven't heard your opinion on it.
Die Hard, it literally has everything that a Christmas movie needs. It has Santa, it has presents, it has snow, it has department stores. There's a whole list of arguments for it somewhere, but have you ever seen the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes, it's one of my favorite things in life.
Absolutely, it is. It's literally the best show ever. But
ever.
Jake Peralta breaks it down quite nicely why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I agree 100% with his stance on it.
Me too. So we're in agreement. So I guess for this episode of Not the Podcast, we'll wrap it here. And you guys on YouTube, stay tuned for another installment with me crashing Millie's stream here. And I hope you're enjoying the game and the content. Send us a like and go follow Millie. Okay. Say bye, Millie.
Bye.
Bye.